My name is Ryan, and I teach high school students science. Welcome to episode 2 of Things My Students Should Know. Now, normally this time of year, I've got kids in the room, we're collaborating, we're doing cool stuff like determining the density of unknown objects or modifying paper helicopter models, and through that process, my students are learning what science is and what it isn't. But during this weird COVID time when the kids aren't here and I am essentially talking to webcams and seeing their faces on a mosaic of tiles, I've had to take a different tack, doing a bit more direct instruction. However, what I have noticed from that process is that my kids know a little bit about what science is, but they've just got some kind of vague ideas about terms and pieces of content. What I'm trying to get them to recognize is that science is absolutely more than facts and pieces of data, but it's a way of knowing the world. I've been working with the Smithsonian Institute on a project for the last couple of years, and they've given me some really good insights about how to get kids to think about what science is, and I want to share that with you right now. In fact, we can think about what science is 5 characteristics. Dig this. Number 1, science is limited to the natural world. If we're talking about spooks, specters, and ghosts, we are not talking about science. Number 2, and this is important, science not only is limited to the natural world, but it aims to explain the natural world. So if you're talking science, you're talking about something that goes on. You're talking about cause and effect relationships. You're looking for patterns, and those patterns will have a reason for emerging every time you look at them. Speaking of every time you look at them, the thing that makes science different from other ways of knowing is that it leads to ideas that can be tested and rejected. If you say, I'm doing science, and you can't perform a test that can be controlled and manipulated, then you're not doing science. Further, the ideas that you generate by doing science can be rejected. As I've been telling my students, ideas in science have to stand up to constant testing. And if they withstand that testing, then they become what we might call canonized. They become part of the scientific lexicon. They are real. But these ideas that we have in science are not set in stone. They are not proof. These ideas tend to be refined and expanded upon as we learn more about the natural world. This is another big one. Science must have answers that rely on evidence, and that evidence can be repeatedly collected. If you do something once, I don't care. I tell my kids, do it again. They do it twice, they get a similar result. Fantastic. Do it again. They do it 3 times, they get a similar result. Fantastic. Do it again. What we're looking for are repeated patterns of anything, for lack of a better term. If we see the same thing over and over again, it's likely that there is a phenomenon there, there's a mechanism there, and then we can aim to explain that. And then finally, if you have got this idea that can be tested and you get similar results each time you perform the same test, here's where the rubber meets the road. That idea and your test can be open to testing by anyone. Your results have to be verified by a broader community. That could be other scientists, it could be anyone in the world that wants to try your idea out. And this is where science has been criticized lately, really for the past 20 years, is that scientists merely talk to scientists. We need to more broadly communicate our ideas so that people begin to understand what science is and what it isn't. When scientists become cloistered, when the conversation is only among scientists and people in the broader world don't know what science is, people begin to fear science, people begin to mistrust science, and because people don't understand science. It's up to people like myself, a high school teacher that teaches science, to communicate these ideas to not only my students but to the broader world so that everybody can have a better understanding of what science is. One more thing before I let you go. The cool thing about science, it's not that it can be one of these 5 things, it has to be all of these 5 things or it does not count. Again, these are things my students learned today.